Hi everyone, it's Dr. D and I'm here to report day 2 of 100 Days of Nice. Yesterday was a rough day. So I'm just going to start by sharing the 4 steps, and if you're interested in story time, stay tuned for the end. So the nurturing self-talk for yesterday was the peace I seek is in my breath. The integrity practice was deep breathing exercise. I did that a lot. And journaling while I was doing my deep breathing. The compliment, compassion, and commitment. I was committed and I did this thing even though I didn't really want to. So I did a good job with the commitment. The compliments, I gave myself a pat on the back, and I'm still giving myself a pat on the back for having great self-control. I didn't do or say anything that was intentionally hurtful or that I would regret or have to apologize for later. So good job for that. The compassion I had for myself was letting myself know, like, it's okay to feel fire. You have that fighter in you, and that's a perfectly okay thing to have and to feel. And also having compassion for myself and reminding myself that just as strong as I am in being able to be a fighter, I'm even stronger in my ability to heal the softer hurts that are often underneath all of that anger. So that's kind of touching into the emotional intelligence piece. I'll start with the positive emotion that was very present for me yesterday, and that was excitement. I felt a lot of excitement yesterday. What I learned from that excitement was that community is a great motivator for me. It's a big strength booster. It was a really good source and fuel of energy. It has, like, thank you so much for those of you that are like, I'm jumping on board, I'm doing this with you. Like, that sparked in excitement, and I was just so happy. And yeah, like that really boosted me. So that just lets me know that that's something that I want to continue to invest in, because it does good things for me. The negative emotion that I felt a lot of yesterday was anger. So I'm gonna just go into the story time so all of this could make a little bit more sense. So I have I a pattern I'm noticing so far is whatever uh in the morning when I choose what my nurturing self-talk is going to be for the day. I mean, it's only been 2 days so far, but I've noticed I've had to use that affirmation throughout the day. So today's day 3, and I've kind of been scared to choose one even so far today, because I'm like, oh, then what am I going to have to use it for? But anyways, yesterday it was the peace I seek is in my breath. And that was inspired by Bible verses, that say it's God's breath in our lungs, and Him being the breath of life, and all of those things. So that inspired this affirmation. Then I was triggered, and I was very, very angry. Like, have you ever been? I hadn't been this angry in a really long time. A really long time. Have you ever been so angry that you can't even think straight? It was one of those. Like, I was so angry. I was like, it was like a movie of things playing, and I could like almost really see them, of things that the anger wanted to do on my behalf. And it took every ounce of self-control to not do those things. So that's why I'm so proud of myself, because anger just brings out so many hurtful things. And I could definitely relate to that, and I didn't act on any of them. So I was very proud of myself about that. And I'm also, as a therapist, very aware that anger is a secondary emotion. There are some instances where it's the primary core emotion, but most instances, and it was the case for me yesterday, anger was a secondary emotion for myself and for a lot of people. When we feel angry, we feel a little bit more powerful. We feel stronger. We feel more confident. So a lot of us allow ourselves to stay in those states of anger because we feel a kind of false sense of power, or some kind of, in a way, like a sense of like control and strength and just that fire. And as a therapist, I know that that is often reactive. There is a more vulnerable core emotion, or what we call primary emotion, that triggered the anger. We're often angry because some other core emotion was tapped into. And for myself, yesterday, that was hurt. It's so much easier to be angry than it is to feel hurt. Hurt is more vulnerable. Hurt is softer. Hurt, we often maybe feel weak or powerless or, hopeless. And so sitting with hurt is not as, like most of us would probably, well, I know, let me just speak for myself. For me, if I had a choice, I would choose to feel anger than to feel hurt, because with anger, there's kind of some kind of sense of power over it, because I don't like feeling powerless. So, however, I was committed to this process and to this exercise, so I took my little angry self to my quiet, sacred space. I was repeating the affirmation to myself while I was angry. I removed myself from the situation and I was meditating on that affirmation while I was doing my deep breathing. I sat with the anger, and the anger reminded me that it was there to protect me, and it was protecting me because I felt um I felt hurt. And so I then sat with the hurt and tried to learn the intelligence and the wisdom that it was trying to highlight for me, and what that hurt was communicating to me, and reminding me, is that it is inevitable to avoid hurt when we are being completely open and vulnerable with others. That is simply a part of the process. There are going to be mistakes that we make. There are going to be ways that we step on each other's toes. There are going to be misalignments and kind of those conflicts there. So I was reminded that my task is not to avoid hurt at all costs, because hurt is a necessary part of our lives. Hurt is there to show us that something needs to change, that something needs to be resolved or adjusted or addressed. And when I allowed myself to welcome the hurt instead of trying to avoid it at all costs, then I was able to find the words that I needed so that I could communicate my need, my want, my boundary with so much more clarity and effectiveness. And it reminded me that I don't need to avoid it, because I know how to heal from it. Yes, hurt sucks, but it's because it's supposed to, so that it grabs our attention, so that we could do something about it. And that's where our healing comes, when we create that change, when we act on it. So, yeah, I did a pretty big 180 yesterday, and I hope that this is helpful to you. We can sit with our anger, and we could sit with our hurt and allow them to serve us and allow them to work towards our healing and empowerment. They're simply signals, and we have the choice on how we respond to those signals. So I hope this was helpful. That was kind of wrap up of my day 2. If you practiced nice yesterday, leave it in the comments. I have a link for the little template if you want to share it on IG, tag me, or use the hashtag so I can see and celebrate. But yeah, this is quite of a roller coaster. But that's day 2. I'll see y'all tomorrow for day 3.